Hello and welcome to the run-in and welcome to Nashville, where, as you can see, we are stood outside the Nissan Stadium, where we're getting rid of the Tennessee Titans and we're replacing them with the Titans covered in spandex of WWE for SummerSlam. And of course, it wouldn't be a big WWE event if we weren't joined by the superstar himself. They talk about WWE superstars. This man is the real superstar. Ariel Helwani, how are you?
I'm doing great. What a fantastic intro on many different levels. What you said about me, fantastic. The thing that you said about the Titans, fantastic. And yes, let us always forget about the Titans. I hate the Tennessee Titans, so I'm very happy that we're replacing them this weekend.
Yeah, he wasn't scheduled to be on the show. We just saw him cursing the stadium.
Yes.
And we dragged him in. We said, we've got a lovely balcony. Come up here. Let's talk about WWE SummerSlam. Last time we saw you, you're splitting duties between UFC and WWE. It's all SummerSlam this week. Your jet-setting lifestyle has been fantastic, but you're excited to get stuck into this massive event.
I don't know if I've ever told you this before, but SummerSlam is actually my favorite event on the calendar. Now, forget if I said this about Royal Rumble or Money in the Bank or WrestleMania. This is the truth, and I'll tell you why. There's something about the summer. There's something about summer being in the word. There's something about the great memories of the past. One of my favorite matches of all time happens to be Mr. Perfect versus Bret Hart, 1991 SummerSlam, and we are enjoying the 30th anniversary of the biggest event in UK wrestling history. That was SummerSlam 92. So I feel a lot of that nostalgia. It's a big stadium show again, great memories. Last year was a great one at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. And you know what? Historically, SummerSlam has been end of summer. I like that it's middle of the summer because it always kind of felt like, oh, the summer is wrapping up. Why are we talking? Now it's like proper July, middle of the summer, big matchups, big stadium, big fight feel. I'm pumped.
Yeah. As you mentioned, middle of the summer. This is the second time you and I have stood out here sweltering.
Yes.
You've been very wise with the checked, patterned T-shirt, the shirt even, which is going to do you a number of favours. I imagine when we're into the 20th minute of this show, I may be struggling somewhat. But let's talk about when we were out there in Vegas, the heat. But the real heat was coming in the MGM Grand when Liv blew the roof off, winning that Money in the Bank match. Long deserved. You predicted it the day before, and then cashed it in same night, beating Ronda Rousey. A real proving ground for Liv, because when you cash in, obviously it's the moment itself, isn't it? And you expect the person cashing in to win, but to have the full match against Ronda Rousey, this is a big compliment to Liv, saying you can have this moment, you can have this match, you can hold your own on this one, because Ronda, we see her as being almost unbeatable at times with what we've seen of her in her prior career. How do you think this match is going to unfold?
And here's the thing. Last summer, we saw a great moment with Nikki ASH winning the Money in the Bank and then cashing in 2 days later. But if I'm being honest, in retrospect, a year later, kind of felt like a flash in the pan. And so this is the moment when we come to find out if Liv Morgan's moment at Money in the Bank was a flash in the pan like last summer, or if she has arrived as a main eventer, as a headliner, as a true champion. I think she's a true champion. I think she has been a true champion for quite some time. I don't know if the brass has really viewed her in that light, but certainly the fans have had her back, and we saw that in Las Vegas last year when they were trying to will her to the top of that ladder. It's been an amazing run for her this past month. I think she has really embraced the title. She has put the title over. She has made being a champion, SmackDown champion, feel important, feel big. And what a great story. She talks about she was serving wings at Hooters while Ronda Rousey was on TV armbarring people in the UFC. If you would have told that waitress 7 years ago that she'd be, headlining a show at a stadium like this as the champ, as the betting favorite against Ronda Rousey, I don't know if she would have believed her, but that just speaks to her amazing journey. She's an underdog. She's a fan favorite. She's so likable. I'll tell you what, and this is a shoot. If Ronda Rousey wins on Saturday night, I'm riding, all right? And everyone's coming with me. There is no chance in hell that she goes over on Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan's going to have a huge title reign here, and this is just a speed bump. Ronda, your time is up. It's now the Liv era.
There was the interview Liv did in the week following that title win. But she said, what's the difference between you and Ronda? And she goes, yeah, the people want me to be champion.
Wow.
Which was, ooh.
She's had some good
delicious
lines. She's had some good lines. She also said, since I was 5 years old, I wanted to be champion. That's all I wanted to be, WWE champion. I wanted to be a superstar. Ronda didn't grow up dreaming of this. She dreamed of being an Olympian, an Olympic gold medalist, and a UFC champion. This is just a thing that she does. She doesn't love this as much as I do. She doesn't care about it. And you know what? I believe her. Just watch Ronda on television. She doesn't love it. She doesn't care about it. This means more to Liv, and you just see the way she has reacted to being champion, sleeping with the belt, making the belt feel important, making it feel big. That's what you need from your SmackDown champion. I think Liv has done a fantastic job this past month.
And after this match, whoever wins, who do you think's next? I think we're hearing sort of talks of Charlotte being around. We haven't seen her for a while. Do you think there could be a potential Liv/Ronda versus Charlotte match in the horizon?
Not a huge fan of the triple threat matches. This is what I want to see happen.
Either or versus Charlotte.
Okay, fair enough. Liv wins clean, and then we head over to Cardiff, and it's Liv versus Charlotte over there. I think that would be great. I think it's very important that, you know, Liv is viewed as a credible champion, that she's viewed as a dominant champion. Again, I don't want this to be a flash in the pan for her. And she says it herself. She's not the biggest. She's not the toughest. She's not the most athletic. She's not the most talented on the roster. But she has this, and she has been through so many ups and downs in her career. I mean, at one point, 2 members of the Riot Squad were out of the company, and we all wondered what was going to happen to her. Now she's champion. I bet a lot of people didn't predict that this would happen. So it's a great story that you really want to get behind. I love these stories. I love these underdog stories. I want to see her have a long reign, and going up against Charlotte at Cardiff would be huge.
Let's move on. Let's talk about Logan Paul versus The Miz.
My guy.
Logan
my
Paul.
Good friend. # mad cute.
There was a moment that on Monday where the Madison Square Garden, the signs outside had Logan Paul on one side with the Raw, and then Jake Paul on the other side with the boxing match coming up versus Hassan Rahman Jr. What is going on there? That family just go from success to success to success. An incredible moment for them to headline that building, but also holding his own just like we thought he would on Raw, in WWE, at these big events.
He was made for this. I think we all recognized that leading up to WrestleMania. I think we were all 100% sure of it. After WrestleMania, he was one of the stars of the show. Here's what I wonder. He's all in. And I've talked to people who know him, who have worked with him, who see him backstage. He's not here as the celebrity just looking for a quick payday. He actually lives and breathes this. He is really devoted to making this run of his in WWE a success. He was made for this. His brother very clearly made for the boxing. Logan tried it out. I don't think he's as good as his brother in boxing, but he was made for WWE. And what if on his way from Puerto Rico to New York on Monday to get ready for Hassan Rahman Jr., if Jake Paul makes a pit stop here in Nashville to help his bro get the W over The Miz?
He's booking it.
You can have that one,
He's
Trips.
booking it.
You can have that one on the house.
Trips, you're the fourth H.
Yeah.
It's Triple H and then Helwani at the end. You're the fourth H.
I mean,
to complete,
you said it,
to complete
not me. My good friend Paul, of course. Congratulations to him on the new position with the company.
A new era.
A new era. I'm very excited about it.
Let's talk about Happy Corbin.
Oh, yeah.
Punishing your pal, Patrick.
Not cool.
After the show at Money in the Bank, there he was. Theory was celebrating away. Corbin comes down, smashes up McAfee's desk, smashes up McAfee. What were you thinking?
Well, honestly, what I'm thinking is it possible that this is like the people's main event? I feel like this is the match with the most heat.
There's Helwani, bingo. Tick that one off.
People's main event, Pat McAfee versus Baron Corbin, the former football teammates, now turned bitter rivals in WWE. McAfee is on fire, my good friend. We have made amends, by the way. I don't know if you saw the selfie backstage at Money in the Bank. We have made amends. We took a nice selfie. We had a nice chat. Water under the bridge. And so I would extend this offer to my good friend Patrick. If he needs me, I'll be there. I can help him out. It seems like he's got it on his own. I don't think Baron, Happy Corbin, whatever he wants to call himself, has anything for Patrick. I think he was the star of WrestleMania. I think he was the star back in NXT. He's certainly the star in the broadcast booth, and I think he's going to steal the show. He's on this keto diet. He's lost a bunch of weight. His hair looks fantastic. His tank top's crisper than ever. I'm expecting big things out of Patrick come Saturday. And I hate to say I told you so, but like I think I was the first one to say this guy's got something in him. Like before, when he left NFL, a lot of people were like, this is crazy. He's going to regret this. He turned out. I was the one who stood up. There's actual records of this who said, no, he's doing the right thing. He's going to kill it. I believed in him before anyone else did, and he's proving me right.
It's a testament to how talented he is that someone that has everything, right? Generally, you're inclined to not like them, right? Because you might be envious. Pat McAfee has everything.
Everything.
He's good at everything. He has everything. He's made loads of money being good at everything. He's also a brilliant personality, and everybody adores him. You go into the stadium before an event, and the second he walks down to the commentary desk, everyone's chanting his name. They're chanting his name more than some of the guys in ring sometimes.
Huge star. It's crazy that, I mean, the full-time broadcaster, if you will, is one of the biggest stars on the roster. And of course, he's incredibly athletic. He's a former NFL football player, in case you don't know. And now the #1 podcast / show in sports media, at least here in the United States. I mean, he is crushing it, but his dedication to the brand, to the art form, to wrestling, to WWE, to sports entertainment, whatever you want to call it, cannot be questioned. Every time he has performed, even back War Games, Adam Cole, the WrestleMania spot, the 2 matches at WrestleMania, Austin Theory and Vince, I mean, it's been banger after banger, and I'm not expecting anything different on Saturday.
All right, perfect. Well, we'll talk about the rest of the show that's happening over there in the Nissan Stadium after the break. Welcome back to the run-in. Here we are in Nashville, outside the Nissan Stadium, ahead of WWE SummerSlam. Mr. SummerSlam, however, Seth Rollins, the man himself, always brings out the best outfits for this one, but has been cruelly deprived of that opportunity. So we think, as Riddle's pulled out of that. However, we saw on Twitter the new boss, the big dog, your friend Paul, as we call him, Triple H. Trips, yeah, to his pals. He said, "I hear you," to Seth Rollins, which makes me think, is there something coming for Rollins?
I thought the same. I loved everything about that, because obviously he was upset, Mr. SummerSlam, all that stuff, and he puts out this tweet. He's disgruntled. He's bummed out. He's not going to be on the card. His opponent, Riddle, is out. And then he says, "Thank you for the support." I'm paraphrasing. "One day they'll hear you." And I think he's referring to, all right, the brass is going to hear that you sing my entrance, you cheer for me, you've had my back all this time. One day they will listen to you and do what's right, put me in there, win the belt, all that stuff. Triple H, new era, new regime, new voice, fresh, quote retweets it, says, "I hear you." Not only was it a smart babyface move by, the new boss, if you will, also, to me, a bit of foreshadowing. Here's him, puts him on the card, surprise opponent. There's a bunch of names running in my mind. I don't want to get people excited. There's a bunch of names that I'd love to see run in there and go up against Seth. But I would be shocked if he doesn't make an appearance of some kind come Saturday.
I think with it being the new era, you also get, you mentioned those names, Triple H so associated with that NXT black and gold era. You look at the names that have left there and maybe come back, you think, oh my God, it could be anyone. There's names on the roster that aren't on this card that you think they'd fit perfectly. And because it's Rollins, someone can come there with no storyline, no build-up, no anything, and it could be an absolute banger.
Feels like deja vu all over again here. We were just in Dallas / Arlington back in April talking about this sort of scenario. Now, we knew for sure that he would be on the card, but we were all wondering, is it going to be Cody? Is it going to be someone else, et cetera, et cetera? Feels like we're doing the same thing. And so I would love to see a name from the past. I would love to see a certain guy with longish hair who used to be a scary guy, but, was from, the deep south of Louisiana walking around with a lantern. I would love to see a guy like that show up and challenge Seth Rollins. I don't want to get people too excited.
I thought you were talking about Kane for a minute there.
Oh, yeah. That would be cool, too. I mean, doesn't he
mayor,
live?
Yeah,
he lives here. He's the mayor of Knoxville, I believe.
Yeah.
In any event, I'd love to see a moment like that. That would be tremendous.
Yeah, absolutely. Another thing that we've been enjoying recently, Bobby Lashley, you spoke to him after Money in the Bank, and he was so excited to have won that US title. He was so excited just to be a part of this amazing chapter of his career that he's having at the moment. And we caught up with him while we were out here to see how he was doing ahead of his match with Theory.
You put that open challenge out, and Theory is your challenger on Saturday at the Nissan Stadium. The man you beat for the title. It seems like everyone's coming for Theory.
Yes.
But you've had some good things to say about him. You spoke to Ariel Helwani and said he's the future of the business.
Yes.
How much of a challenge is he?
Right now, he's a little young. He's a little young in the business. He's doing what he's supposed to do. I mean, because when you get into the wrestling business, either you can be quiet and and no one hears you, or you can be loud and everybody hears you. And he's taken that position of being very loud and running around. I mean, the kid's extremely athletic. He has a great look. He has all the tools right now, but it's a walk, not a run. I mean, when you come all the way up to me, it's like you jumped a little bit too far. I mean, he's jumping in front of Roman. He's jumping in front of Brock. He's jumping in front of myself. He's jumping in front of Drew. I mean, these are a lot of people that, I mean, I give you credit for doing it, but boy, you're going to take a lot of ass whoopings on the way. So this weekend, I mean, I'm just going to teach him a lesson. And it's nothing against him. He's not going to lose anything to lose to the Almighty. I mean, that's not going to set his career back. It's going to just say and show him where he's at, and then he's had something to build on. So this weekend, I mean, I train like I train for everything else, so I'm completely prepared for anything that he has to throw at me. But I think this is pretty much a one-sided victory for me.
When you beat Theory on Saturday at Nissan Stadium, who do you want to step up to you?
I'm gonna go after you guys again. I think an interesting matchup that I heard a couple times is Gunther. Yeah. I think just him being my counter on the other show, I think it's something that is kind of intriguing. He's a tough competitor. I mean, he's been doing some big stuff, and he just went right up to the top right away. So I think it's an interesting matchup. It's a matchup that I think that we can kind of build towards, and maybe we can do that at Survivor Series, or we can do that a little later on in the year. But it's something definitely that I'm interested in.
Bobby Lashley there with a few ideas of what he'd like to do after Theory. He's got to get through Theory first, of course, but Bobby Lashley against Gunther.
Love that. Love that. By the way, Gunther could be a guy who could go up against Seth Rollins as well. Yeah. He's not on the card as of right now, and he's been doing amazing stuff. He'll always be Walter to me, but Gunther has been doing good. New physique, fantastic, very impressive. So yeah, that would be incredible. Lashley's doing great work. And as we talked about earlier this month at Money in the Bank, who would have thought in his mid-40s he would have a run like this where he's winning all these belts, where he's a fan favorite, doesn't need a mouthpiece, right? Doesn't need an MVP to put him over, to speak on his behalf. He's really coming to his own. And I think there was a period where people thought he was kind of a bust, a failure, a never was. The stuff that they saw in him 15 or so years ago coming to fruition now.
What do you think it is? How do you think he tapped into that extra something that he's found?
I feel like it's confidence, it's maturation, it's evolution. Some guys, he was a little bit reserved. He was in his shell. He I don't know, wasn't really great on the microphone. Obviously, he always had the physique. They put him in that spot with the future president, Donald Trump. I mean, they really tried to push him, and it just felt like he was uncomfortable being on his own. And if I'm being honest, I would probably venture to guess that MVP had something to do with bringing this out of him. Obviously, they're not on the best of terms right now, but I think just being around a guy like that who knows how to use the microphone, who knows how to be a presence, to get others over, to get himself over, really probably rubbed off on Bobby Lashley. And, look at him now after being paired up with MVP. You see, I mean, the results speak for themselves. He's a different guy. He's a confident guy. He's able to carry himself. He dresses differently. He's wearing the nice suits. Like, everything about that just exudes confidence, maturation, evolution, and I think it's all paying off.
We have Becky Lynch and Bianca coming up. Bianca, I think, in this situation, the title elevated her. Becky, she's made that title mean something enormous. And they're meeting again at SummerSlam. You were there last year for the big return of Becky Lynch, the 26-second shock victory, which kind of began the whole big-time Beck's story arc, character arc. Running it back now, how do you see this one going?
Well, they were fantastic at WrestleMania, right?
Incredible.
Everyone hated the SummerSlam match, and it's interesting. She came out to the big pop. She was the big babyface return. Everyone loved it. Everyone was happy. And then she beats Bianca in a matter of seconds, and everyone felt offended, upset, aggravated about it all. And as you said, that led to big time Bex. This is the perfect full circle match. I hope it's the end of the rivalry, at least for the time being.
26-second win for Bianca?
No.
Very difficult to time, isn't it?
I want to see a match like we had at WrestleMania. I think that would be perfect. And it's a great story to tell from SummerSlam to SummerSlam. But I would be shocked if this ends for Becky and for Bianca in 26 seconds. Becky not very happy with me as of late. I saw her backstage at Money in the Bank, and she was like, "You wanted Liv to win the Money in the Bank." All I'll just say was, Becky, I've been on your side for years. I was the one saying you should be getting all these opportunities. I was the one saying you should be WrestleMania headliner, this, that, and the other. So I've been on her side. She's incredible. She's doing amazing things. The outfits are fabulous. The hair, fabulous. The glasses, everything about what she's doing is fabulous. And her and Bianca are magic. And so I'm expecting another banger like we had back in April.
We briefly spoke about possible returning Charlotte. I'm still waiting for Bayley to pop up at the end of one of these matches as well.
I've seen her pop up here and there in backstage things. That would be nice. That would be amazing. It's been over a year since her injury. She would be a nice addition to the women's roster. And look, speaking of Triple H, right? She's from that era, NXT. Good to have some of those faces. So maybe she does.
Maybe
pop
she's
up.
coming down to face Seth.
That would be weird.
Of course
that
not.
would be weird.
Of course not.
We should probably edit that one out.
Wow, rude.
No.
Taking editorial control. Helwani. He's the boss. Usos versus Street Profits.
Oh, yes.
At Money in the Bank. Every 2 seconds, there seems to be an enormous pop from the crowd. All those false finishes, amazing. 2 of the best tag teams in the world, indisputably. And they're going at it again now in the big stadium, in the big show. We spoke about Street Profits and maybe what's next for them. Could this be a big sort of last hurrah?
Oh, man. Well, they had an incredible match at Money in the Bank. Best match of the night, if you ask me. There are certain tag teams that are just magic with each other. There was once a great tag team match at SummerSlam way back in the day. Hart Foundation Demolition. Look it up if you're a newer fan. And it's one of the classics, and I feel like we can have something like that here. These two teams are just incredible together. Montez Ford really coming into his own. It's a matter of time before he's one of the big stars on the roster. I feel like they're hinting at it.
Yeah, The Rock's talking him up now. When the Rock starts talking him up.
Huge as well. He's gotten swole, as the kids like to say. The Usos are on fire. I don't know if the Usos... Listen, if it was up to me, Usos retain. We break up the Street Profits. We finally get the run for Montez. I think it's overdue. I just love seeing these two compete against each other, these two teams, because they're allergic to bad matchups. They're allergic to bad performances, bad matches, all that stuff. They're just incredible together.
Should the Street Profits win, what do you reckon happens with the Bloodline and Usos? It's the Bloodline is less of a thing when all the titles aren't there.
Yeah, that's why I don't want to see it to end just yet. I definitely don't want to see Roman Reigns lose to Brock Lesnar, and I don't want to see the Usos lose to Street Profits, because I'm ready for the Street Profits to go their separate ways. Not because I don't like them together, not because I don't think they can be stars and whatnot, but I really just want to see Montez Ford as a single star. I think he has what it takes. He's got that aura. He's incredible. The guy's flying through the air. Angelo's great as well. No knock on him. But if you put the belts on them, that means they're sticking around as a duo for at least the foreseeable future.
You mentioned the match there, Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, the rematch.
Yes.
For all the gold, main event. We saw it at WrestleMania. Obviously, then Brock came down about a month ago. Complete surprise. Roman, we've not seen as much since WrestleMania. He's taken a little bit of a back seat on the weekly programming, but now we get him in the last man standing match. I think it very much dictates, and we talk about this as the British broadcaster. Obviously, we're looking at that Clash in the Castle pay-per-view. Almost bigger than the match tonight. Sorry, the match on Saturday night with Roman and Brock is the match that we then get in Cardiff.
For sure.
I think. And what would you rather of the two options there?
Oh my gosh, it's such a hard one to predict, because I really don't love the idea of Brock beating Roman, but I do love the idea of Brock versus Drew in Cardiff, because that's the matchup that we were supposed to get at WrestleMania back in 2020, and it ended up being at the PC. So it's a tough one, man. It's a really tough one. Hopefully this is the end of the rivalry, at least for now, between Roman and Brock. We've seen it enough, but I agree with you. My interest in this matchup is more so about what it means for Cardiff, right? What it means for September 3rd. I like both scenarios. If I'm being honest, I kind of like Drew versus Brock a little more, just because of that story where he wins the belt in front of no one. Now he gets to go back to the UK and win it in front of everyone. So I'm torn, I have to be honest. One of the rare times that I'm sitting on the fence.
I think both of those matches are incredible. The idea of the astonishing run that Roman's had being ended by Drew in that stadium is almost... It's one of those things where you say poetic. You can't write it, but it is actually probably the first thing you would write.
Sure.
But yeah, like you say, coming round to the Brock match, no fans, and then the stadium show that you made happen.
Right.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It is beautiful. Both scenarios, if it ends up with him winning, I think it would be beautiful, because I really felt bad that his first title victory was in front of no one.
And then the last man standing match itself. It's a big old stadium for those guys to run around.
I thought when you said last man standing, I thought it was between us, because I'm sweating like a mad dog on Mardi Gras here.
Yeah, but look, I mean, you did make the right choice.
Yeah,
So,
well, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
Golly.
See, now I'm in a lighter colour though, so
Can you see the waterfalls coming from my back?
As this goes on, I'm at an advantage, so maybe I
that
will
is
be
true.
the last man standing. The match itself, what are you expecting? Destruction, chaos, violence?
Oh my God, yeah, everything and then some. Last man standing matches are very fun. This one should be the same. I think that it's going to be great. Honestly, I like this card a lot. I like it. You know, there's the Logan stuff. There's the Patrick McAfee stuff. There's the big names. There's the live. I mean, the tag stuff. I mean, there's something for everyone. This is always a fun gimmick match.
There we go. He's talking up the card. I think that's the perfect place to stop. Of course, you can watch SummerSlam on BT Sport Box Office. Go to www.bt.com/sport box office for more information on how to buy that. But until Cardiff, you and I better go and get an enormous drink of water. There's a river right there. I'll race you to it. I'll race you to it. We're going to jump in there right now. We'll see you in Cardiff.